Things have really started to dry out here in the last few weeks, and there are a number of wildfires in the area. The smoke has settled in so thick today, it's hard to breathe. We're gonna spend the day inside the shop and see if we can get a few things done.
This is a little bit of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back process. Last winter, we felt like we needed to put up this vapor barrier so that we wouldn't have moisture issues when we were living in here in the camper. Now that insulation and that vapor barrier are in our way for running our electrical, so we're just gonna try to get everything tucked up out of the way, run all of our plumbing and electrical, and then we can fold it back down. That's a lot of dead bugs.
A lot of bugs. We're gonna start on this wall because I think it's gonna be the easiest one, and see if we can come up with a reasonable system for pulling this wire through this already insulated wall. Dang it, that plan didn't work.
I watched a YouTube video on how to unroll PEX last year, and I'm hoping that maybe the wire will work the same way. How far am I going?
Like 200 feet.
All the way down the hill. A follower sent us this dog toy for our new concrete slab, and I was kind of skeptical on whether or not the dogs were gonna like it, but they are obsessed with it.
Now the plan is to staple this up. I've got to mark it 4 feet. That's how high we want our outlet to end up. So I'm going to staple off the wire here. We're going to be finishing off the interior walls of the shop with metal liner panel. It's just like the exterior metal paneling, but it's meant for the inside. I watched a few videos on YouTube of wiring the interior of a shop with metal liner panel, and one guy had a really good idea, and we're going to be following his method. We're going to leave some long tails of wire that are just looped around like this, everywhere we want an outlet. Then when we put the liner panel up, all we have to do is drill a hole in the liner panel in between the ribs, fish the wire through, and then we're going to surface mount a box on the exterior. I think it's going to work great. I think it's going to look good. And it means that we don't have to figure out exactly where all the ribs are going to line up right now. That was the easy part because we were just putting wires for outlets at fixed intervals along the wall. Now's the hard part because it's time to install the wiring for our lighting. We're using 12-3 wire for this, which is a 4 conductor. There's a ground, a neutral, and 2 hots, and that allows us to run 2 separate outlet circuits. So we have 2 20-amp circuits feeding all these outlets. It says east wall outlets. Now we need to figure out how to get from here up into the ceiling of the shop.
Oh boy.
Thank you for the reminder.
Safety first. I've been informed that there are 3 wires that we need to run to the ceiling, and Riley gave me 2 options. He said we can run them each one at a time, or we could try to run them all at one time. I don't like wiring, so I suggested that we get them all done at once.
Something tells me this isn't how the pros do it.
I've never claimed to be a pro.
Nice, look at that. Mobile wire spool. Yeah, that'll work.
They don't sell this wire at Home Depot.
No, they don't. What are each of those wires?
I don't know.
Wait, if you don't know, who knows?
Hopefully you.
Now, just feed that through there.
Nice. Ooh, this is working.
I'm about to make a big mess. That's one way to get the insulation out of the way.
Whoops.
That's it.
Booyah!
I'm pretty sure all I have to do is pull this back. And there we go. Yep, we're in the attic.
Suit up.
I got a new weapon for the attic.
I feel like I'm in the danger zone right now.
I think you are too. Ready?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Turn it off. Turn it off.
I almost fell down the stairs. I never know how to do this.
You got it.
There it goes. Welcome to the attic. Looks pretty good up here. Okay, there's the wire. Now we just need to get them into the right spots. Okay, I'm in. About in the center. Down in the attic, we've got wires hanging down. You might be able to see them for our high bay lights now installed. And it's time to pull the slack back through the panel. And you may be wondering what this brown wire is. This is actually a 5-conductor thermostat wire that we're using to control a low voltage circuit. So the high bay lights that we have are a 0 to 10 volt DC dimming circuit. So there's going to be constant power running over this wire to the lights, and the switching happens on a low voltage DC side. The big advantage to this should be really smooth dimming so that when we're filming with our cameras, you don't get the flicker that you see sometimes with LED lighting. I also ran a 3-conductor wire up there to the high bay lights in case we ever decide we wanted to add a fan. That gives us that extra wire already run up there. It's pretty amazing how just some lights and some outlets can be so much work to wire. But it's late and I'm tired and hungry, so I'm gonna go take a shower, eat some dinner, and we'll see you tomorrow. I got the drone stuck in a tree. Today is Operation Try and Get the Drone Out. Also, we really need some rain. I'm on the road. That's a cliff. And the drone is somewhere right up there. I can see the drone. Still in the tree. Not gonna be that easy. Drone's still in the tree. What's up, guys? So today I'm wearing a jacket for the first time. Let's talk about winter a little bit and what it means for Courtney and I to be prepared around here. So last year when the snow started falling, our wood pile looked something like this. It was some rounds we had already cut, but they were all too long to even fit in our stove, which we hadn't even installed yet, and we had none of it split. It was a mess. Sometime in the middle of winter last year, we actually moved this shed into place. A huge thanks to Jason and the team at Coffin Builders for making that possible. And what this did for us was give us an inside place to start storing firewood. So as we've had time, Courtney and I have been working on splitting some firewood. We've got 2 rows down, and we'd like to get at least 1 more before the snow starts falling. Moving this shed up here last winter was a challenge, but it gave us some much needed inside storage. Courtney and I really underestimated how precious a place to store stuff inside during the winter up here would be. Another big upgrade last winter was our power system. We added this Delta Pro in about February of last year. Prior to having the Delta Pro, we were powering our entire property off of our camper, but that wasn't ideal because if we went anywhere, so did the power. I didn't have any experience with portable power stations until this point, and I honestly had no idea that anything like this even existed. This thing is insanely powerful. We had our entire property running off this, all of our tools, our apartment upstairs, the refrigerator, our entire property ran off this thing 24 hours a day up until just a few months ago. So this is an all-in-one unit that has an inverter, batteries, DC output, USB charge, solar charge controller, a DC charger, and an AC charger all in this one box. It showed up at our door, we pulled it out of the box, I pressed the yellow button, it turned on, and we've had power ever since. We were so busy last year battling things like the road that having a solution like this just show up and be ready to go was incredibly helpful to us. But with the limited daylight hours around here and only a few hundred watts of solar panels, we were having a hard time keeping this thing charged. So most of our charge was coming from this generator. which meant that I would have to monitor the Delta Pro's charge level, which is pretty easy to do with their phone app. This system worked, but it meant that I spent a significant portion of my day monitoring our charge levels and thinking about this generator. And then towards the end of winter, EcoFlow introduced the smart generator, and sometimes I wonder if they made this thing just for us. The EcoFlow smart generator pairs with the Delta Pro, and the Delta Pro can control it, so it can automatically turn this thing on and off as needed to keep the Delta Pro charged up. Another huge improvement over our previous system is the efficiency of the charge. The smart generator charges the Delta Pro directly off of DC, and so it eliminates one step of efficiency loss. That meant that we burned less fuel and also spent less time listening to a generator. Now that we have our residential power system set up, we no longer need these systems for our primary power source, but they have some really cool features that make them an excellent choice for a backup power system. So it's time to move the Delta Pro into the shop because I have plans for it.
Concrete.
Ooh. So a concern that we do have is that if our residential power goes down, we lose our internet, our security cameras, and our refrigerator. So something pretty cool about the Delta Pro is the EPS mode, which stands for Emergency Power Supply. If our residential power goes down, this will automatically turn on and keep our critical loads powered. So let's get it set up. Step one is just to hook the AC charge cable from the Delta Pro up to our AC residential power. That's going to start charging our Delta Pro. We're going to plug in all of our critical devices like the refrigerator, the internet router, and our security camera system into the Delta Pro. For now, all of those devices are going to get their power by passing through the Delta Pro directly to our residential power system plugged into the wall. But should anything ever happen to our residential power system and the power goes down, the Delta Pro will automatically kick in and start powering those critical devices. And that means that even if Courtney and I aren't here, we can log in remotely, monitor our security cameras, monitor the Delta Pro, and we have the peace of mind knowing that everything here is going to be just fine. All right, well, welcome back to the shop. I'm hoping by the end of today to get all the wiring done and move on to plumbing. Check this out. When we built this pole barn, we actually made a huge mistake, and I'll show you that here in a second. And the rodents are actually able to get inside of our walls. We haven't actually seen any evidence of any mice in here, but now that I'm working behind this installation, check out what I found. So they're actually coming through on the other side of the house wrap, climbing up the walls, chewing through the house wrap to get inside of here. I've now found evidence on all 4 walls of the shop that we worked on, and all the way up in the attic space. There was evidence of rodents up there too. So here's the mistake that we made when we built this thing. There's supposed to be another piece of trim all the way along the bottom down here called a rat guard that keeps rodents and insects from being able to come up through these gaps right here. You can see this gap. That's where they're getting in. So I just made the call. I just ordered all that trim. We're gonna have to pull this bottom row of metal off the entire building, put that trim on, and put the metal back on. So hindsight's 2020, that's going to be a little extra work, but we can't have rats living in our walls, so we don't have a choice. Our local building supply store recently started stocking these really nice looking brown outlet boxes, as opposed to the traditional gray ones that almost perfectly match our building siding. I'm going to go ahead and add 4 of these to the exterior of the building so there's always a handy plug nearby. I got the wire through. Now it's time for part of the project that I've sort of been putting off, which is the 50 amp plugs for the welders and the plasma table. This is number 6 wire. It's super hard to work with, unlike a 20 amp receptacle where you can branch circuit them and chain them off each other. Each one of these has to go all the way back to the panel. I'm doing 1 plug for the plasma table over here in the front of the shop, and then 2 for the welders, 1 over here and 1 towards the center. You know, hindsight's 2020, and last winter it seemed like getting this place insulated was a priority, and the wiring would just have to come later. I wish I would have taken 2 more days and gotten this whole thing wired up. You know, at the time we hadn't figured out exactly where we wanted everything. Wire's super expensive. We didn't want to spend the money on it. And so at the time we felt like it's something that we could just come back and do later, but now I'm paying the consequences of having to work around this insulation. I'm super itchy. I'm over it. All right, 1 down, 2 to go. The last welder plug is a little different. It's going on this column here that supports our apartment that's in the middle of the shop. I think I'm a little more excited than I should be about a welder plug with this one. I'm excited that I'm going to be able to plug the welder in right here in the middle of the shop rather than having the cord drag all the way across the floor and plug into the wall where I'm constantly tripping on it. It's going to be great for when I'm working on vehicles over here in the high bay. However, I just made a discovery that I bought the wrong boxes and the conduit fittings don't fit it because these boxes only have 1/2 inch knockouts. So time for some modifications. Also, I can kind of gauge how long I've been working on a project based on how messy my table is. And right now my mess tells me that I'm in a I just want to get this done mode. Change of plans, this is dumb. I don't need to do this right now, so I'm just going to wait and get the right boxes. But I think you get the idea. There will be a box right here that has 4 20 amp receptacles, and then a box right down here that's got my 50 amp welder plug. That's it. I crossed everything off the electrical list. Well, I think that means that I should probably get cleaned up and get ready for the next step. So a lot of you asked last winter why we weren't plowing with the army truck. Well, because we didn't have a plow for it and we didn't have chains for it. This summer we've been working on turning our army truck into our mobile work truck. We added lighting to it, we added toolboxes and tools, and we also added the EcoFlow power kit. The power kit is a flexible modular system that's really well suited for vehicle-based systems like RVs and campers, but it's also great at off-grid cabins. Having this mobile work truck this winter with this giant power station means that we're gonna be able to make repairs anywhere we need to make them. Our neighbor's plow truck broke down a lot last winter, and now we're actually gonna be able to help him because we can take this truck there and we can make the repairs. Another really cool thing that this is gonna allow us to do is I'm actually gonna install a block heater in this truck for making the cold starts this winter easier. I can power it directly off the power kit, and I can remotely turn the block heater on from the app on my phone. And that's gonna make it a lot easier for us to use this truck this winter. This is the Snowverlander. Courtney and I built these snow tracks and put them on this Jeep so that we would have a way to get in and out of our property no matter how heavy the snow got last winter. So the Snowverlander actually became our primary mode of transportation in and out of our property last winter. We would leave Courtney's car parked down at the main road and drive this in and out down to her car. The Snowverlander proved to be so reliable, it became our emergency response vehicle. We kept it loaded down with a chainsaw, recovery gear, extra food, jackets, and when our neighbor called us because there was a downed tree in the road, this is what we'd take to go help. Or when their plow truck got stuck, we'd go pull them out with the Snowverlander. This is the Delta 2. It's sort of like the little cousin to the Delta Pro. It's super light, it's super portable, but it's also really powerful. We're gonna add this to our Snowverlander emergency response vehicle so that we have reliable power with us all the time. This is gonna be able to charge our cordless tool batteries, our cameras, our phones, and Courtney's heated electric socks. It's also portable enough that we can pull it out of here and throw it in Courtney's car when we're headed to town. I'm really looking forward to the winter this year. I feel a lot more prepared. Last year coming into winter, I didn't know what to expect, and by the time we got into winter, I was kind of in over my head. but this winter I'm feeling a lot more prepared. I mean, our building even has a door, and I'm really looking forward to putting these EcoFlow products to work this winter. They have some really cool features that are gonna make our life a lot easier around here. To learn more about all of EcoFlow's products, head to the links in the description below. We've asked our neighbors when it's gonna start snowing, and they say you never know up here in North Idaho. It could start snowing in September, or it could be after Christmas. So drop a comment down below and let us know, when do you think it's gonna start snowing? All right, guys, so my friend Andy heard that we had lost our drone, and he reached out and he's like, hey, my son is a professional forester. He can climb that tree and he can get that drone down. So Andy's here and we're gonna go see what it takes to climb a tree and retrieve a drone.
I told your mom you're going to be a YouTube sensation, Andrew, so
don't let her down. This is nuts. I don't even think it's been a minute yet, and he's already at least 20 feet up in that tree. All right, he's right there now. Well over halfway. He's way up there now. Oh, drone spotted.
All right, a little closer look. Hooked up on my bridge. Guys. There's the drone. Then I can take my climb line and flip line off, and then I can rappel down back to the ground, and we'll be done. Can't beat the views.
He got it. He just got the drone. That's so cool. He's got a 150-foot rope. There was only 20 feet left on the ground, which means he was 130 feet all the way up in that tree, completely free climbing. And just like that, I think it's less than 20 minutes from the time he started up that tree. Drone's down here on the ground. That was awesome to watch. There you go. Thank you. Look at that. I didn't even break a prop. Dude, Andrew, that was awesome.
No problem.